Okie fucking dokie, we should be live. We should be live. Been a long week, but it's a Friday evening. It's wet, it's dark, it's gloomy in the UK, but that's okay. The weekend is here. We have a good weekend of fights. Of course, tonight we have Jose Pedraza versus Jose Ramirez. Great fight. And, the main fight of this weekend, Roman Gonzalez versus Julio Cesar Martinez. A fight which will promise to be pure violence, no fucking about, no beta male boxing, no touch butt boxing or anything like that. This fight is going to be pure violence, brutality, blood, guts. It's what we want to see. People all fucking front and say, "Oh, I want to see guys show defense and not get hit." We want to see guys beat the shit out of each other. And that's what this fight's going to present. I personally believe Roman Gonzalez will get the job done. But Julio Cesar Martinez is a young, strong, hungry fighter with power, with ambition. He's dangerous. And at 34 years old, Roman Gonzalez could fall off a cliff at any moment. So it's a great fight. This is why I'm a boxing fan. It's shit like this. Shit that I know is going to deliver. You've got Roman Gonzalez, an all-time great, certified Hall of Famer. The guy's pulled out all the stops, always tried to fight the best. Great style, great resume, knockouts, setbacks, blood and guts. That's what you want to see. Roman Gonzalez has delivered. Julio Cesar Martinez, a guy on relative short notice, took this opportunity to be great, and he's going to give it his all. This is going to be a great fight. In the past few weeks and months, we've been consumed by heavyweight drama. Listen, man, these two little guys have more heart than most of the heavyweight division combined. So watch this fight. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, man. And big up to Andre. No way this man Martinez missed weight. Oh, you're kidding. You're kidding. He needs to make it, man. He needs to go back and fucking make it. Regardless, man, it's a great fucking fight. I can't wait. It's a great fucking fight, man. Are you actually being serious? Did Martinez miss weight? I'm presuming the weigh-in has literally just happened now. If that is the case, he might have like an hour to make it. He might have an hour to make it or something like that. Who knows? Big up to official Scorecard Boxing Science in the house. We've got E-Machines here as well. E-Machines 34. Big up to E-Machines. Bump of K. Yeah, exactly. No beta male boxing. No, exactly, bro. Like, people talk shit. Oh, I want to see a guy throw 2 punches around and run around and do fuck all. Nobody wants to see that shit. Of course, we like to see skill, but we want to see guys put it on the line. And that's what these two guys do. So, Roman by KO, I could see that happening. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, quite frankly. It really wouldn't. Roman, like I say, Roman's an all-time great. So, like, listen, that guy could fucking knock out King Kong. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I think that's a likely possibility. I've actually got Roman on points. I think he'll drop Martinez at least once and win on points. Big up to official every time. Okay, so he missed weight. Sorry, he missed weight by 2 pounds. You're right, Andre, about the Arroyo fight. Yeah, he was getting walked into that. I think it was the straight right hand, if memory serves me correct. He was walking right into it. But he squares up when he throws, man. He kind of leads off with hooks. So that's to be expected, right? That's to be expected. Has this fucking video actually shown up yet? Or what? It's fucking annoying, Like, I fucking put a premiere set for this other fucking channel. And I don't think that shit's showing yet. Whatever, man. Who gives a fuck? It's annoying. It's absolutely annoying. But anyway. Yeah, exactly. Martinez. Yeah, he was getting countered, and Martinez does struggle. Well, he's susceptible to getting caught with straight punches. We saw that against Arroyo, of course, and we saw that against Jay Harris as well. A quick 1-2 puncher. So there's something in the straight punches. Martinez is definitely susceptible. I was told Martinez thought the fight was at bantamweight. That sounds like a shit excuse. Roman's going to bust his face up. There's a lot of rumors about top heavyweights being batty men. Just wondering what your thoughts were. I mean, listen, bro. Joshua's been posed in certain suspect situations. Tyson Fury's been kissing men at weigh-ins. Dillian White's banter is extremely questionable. I mean, listen, nothing would surprise me in this day and age. Nothing would surprise me, E-Machines. Shout out to Toti Quiros. Big up to yourself, bro. And thank you very much. And also, yeah, shout out to BDA. Big up to BDA. Big up to Mad Chad. And of course, big up to Unrivaled Boxing Talk with a contribution. 5 of the finest Euros. Rate the networks. Sky, ESPN, DAZN, Showtime. I'll be honest, yeah. In terms of pure consistency, let's just talk about like the regular events they put on. So not pay-per-view. Let's talk about regular events. Honestly, I think in terms of consistency, Showtime have done pretty well in the last 12, 13, 14 months. I think they've done very well. Usually their cards are pretty good. Usually there's more than one fight of interest. It's always a triple header, not too long. They're usually filled with good fights. In terms of consistency, might be controversial. I might say Showtime. That might be controversial. I mean, last week's card was really good. Fernando Martinez versus Joan Angajas was really enjoyable. Chris Colbert got beat up. Victor Postal versus Gary Antoine Russell. Shit stoppage, but a good test for a young prospect. That was a good card. It was a good card. So I think in terms of consistency, I'm going to say Showtime. That might be controversial. That might be controversial. This is so fucking gay. It's fucking stupid YouTuber. YouTube's a bunch of shit, man. I swear to God. But big up to Unrivaled for the contribution. I can see Chocolatito getting put down early, then getting up to school Martinez to a UD. Yeah, maybe. I do think, I do believe Martinez's power will carry. He was he was having a hard time making flyweight. So I can see his power carrying up. Yes, big up to Unrivaled every time. In with the new, out with the old. Listen, man, Gonzalez is a legend, bro. Do you rate Diego Pacheco? Listen, he's fun, but it's far too early to tell. He's still very green. Very green. He needs a long time. It's hard to tell right now, to be honest. It's hard to tell. I wouldn't write him off. I wouldn't necessarily endorse him as the next top prospect. He's a guy who I am keeping an eye out for, He's not one of those prospects where you say to yourself, this guy's definitely a future world champion. But on the flip side, he's not somebody you say, oh, he's shit. So he's one of those guys in the middle. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, YouTube's fucking with me. It's absolutely fucking with me. fuck is going on here? Yeah, YouTube's fucking with me. It's embarrassing. Joshua's been linked with AKA Skins. Yeah, I mean, listen, Joshua's suspect, Tyson Fury suspect, Dillian White is suspect. It's crazy. Diego Pacheco knocks out David Morrell. Morrell is much further ahead right now, bro. Morrell is much further ahead. I cannot wait for this fight. Going to be there live with my old man. Yo, Jay, that's a hell of a fight to go to, man. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope your dad enjoys it. It's going to be a great event, bro. And you've got Maurizio Lara on the undercard. I'm looking forward to seeing him back. I like Lara. Again, no nonsense, aggression, power, violence. That's what I want to see sometimes, you know? None of this pussy tip-tap boxing. Oh, I'll score one, you score one. Let's take our time and sit back and look cute. Fuck that shit. We want to see some violence. And these guys deliver. Big up to Maurizio Lara. Big up to Maurizio Lara. Real fighter. As John Fury would say, he's a fighting man. He's an hard man. This fucking website, I swear to God, YouTube is so gay, man. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God. Like, YouTube's a fucking abomination, man. I kid you not. Kid you not, man. Whatever. Yeah, Q says he agrees with Showtime too. To be honest, that Charlo doubleheader in 2020 was brilliant. Yeah, that was a great card. But even like the non-pay-per-view cards, they're usually pretty well matched. And they have more than one fight for the most part. So I like the Showtime cards. Indeed, Mad Chad. Hit that like button. Smack that like button like it fucking stole something from you. Smack that fucking like button like it's a thief. Piece of shit. That like button's a piece of shit. Stealing from innocent people. Fucking give it a smack. By the way, I'm big pimping, not big simping, but Sky Nicholson would get it. I'm not lying. She would get it. Do you know what I mean? Is there any fight right now in boxing where you'd go up to the credit union to get a loan to go to see? That's a good question. That's a very good question. That's a hard one, actually. Honestly, right now, I would say no. There's fights I really like, but not to that extent where, fuck me, I've got to be there. Or I would say no right now, believe it or not. I'd say no. I miss PBC on Spike, decided to have a boxing marathon, and boy, did that network have some good fights. Edwin Rodriguez versus Edwin Rodriguez versus Michael Seal. That was like 2 or 3 rounds, but it was crazy. That was a crazy fight. Crazy fight. Good shit, man. Proper barn burner. There you go. Fucking YouTube's finally put a premiere up, piece of shit. Usyk versus Fury could be one, actually. Exactly, man, Chad. Listen, I like a good technical boxing match as much as the next guy. But do you know what? Sometimes after a hard week, I want to see 2 midgets beat the absolute piss out of each other. And that's what's going to happen with Gonzalez and Martinez. These guys are going to beat the ever-living shit out of each other. And it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. I think Martinez has shot himself in the foot by missing weight. I mean, I hope he can try and go back and make weight, but we shall see. You know, I mean, like if Martinez wins that fight, he's now got a cloud over his head. Well, you missed weight, so you never really, you wasn't depleted. You took the advantage. So great fight as well. The UFC is fucking stacked tomorrow as well. Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. That's a great fight. That's a great fight. I've got Covington. I think he wrestles Masvidal, takes him down, neutralizes him. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight. The build up is fun. The build up is fun. I've got a weird name, bro. Yeah, Lara's a savage, man. I like Lara. Good fighter. Good fighter. Angel Fierro, another exciting boxer to look out for. Yeah, he's on the undercard. Brandon, I've had my say on Twitter. I completely disagree. It's extremely hypocritical because, like, again, I've not researched the Russia-Ukraine war. I've not done any independent research. I've seen mainstream media reports, but given the last 20 years, I don't trust the mainstream media anymore. But let's take the mainstream media account as gospel, right? Vladimir Putin is a dictator. He's an evil man. He goes against his own people and invades other countries, right? He's a scumbag. He's a piece of shit. How can you punish a Russian fighter for the actions of a government who are dictators? That makes no sense. How can you punish a citizen of a dictatorship because their government has decided to go to war with another country and invade? That is completely wrong. Boxing's an individual sport. It's an individual sport. You can't hold that against Russian fighters. You can't remove these guys from the rankings just because their country's invaded another country. And again, Western media describes Putin as a dictator. So what say do these guys have? If they're living under a dictatorship, they have no say. So why remove these guys from the rankings? It makes no sense. Let's be honest. Were British fighters and American fighters removed from rankings when we, in my opinion, illegally entered Iraq based on a fucking lie and blew the shit out of that country? Killed countless civilians, caused so much unrest, ruined countless lives based on a lie. They're going to say, "Oh, it was faulty intelligence." No, it was a lie. We all know that. But we destroyed a whole fucking region. None of our fighters got banned or blackballed, whether it's the UK or USA. So how can you do that to Russia? I don't like it. I really don't like it. I know that might be controversial, but I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. And Russia's a very diverse country in regards to different regions, different religions, different groups. They're not all on the same page. It's an incredibly complex country in that regard. So I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. Yeah, I mean, John Fury's a fucking idiot. I'm sick of this guy, man. I'm sick of the sight of this cunt. He's an absolute bully, John Fury. He's a fucking bully. I guarantee you, yeah, if Carl Frampton was a heavyweight or something, he would not have said shit to that guy. Because Carl Frampton's a small little dude, John Fury's going up there, swinging his gut around, throwing his weight about, acting like a hard man. The guy's a scumbag. He's a degenerate, John Fury. I cannot stand that guy. Cannot stand him. The guy's a clown, honestly, bro. Can't stand John Fury. Just a nasty, despicable piece of shit. I don't like John Fury. I really don't. I'm sick of the sight of him. Oh, he's funny. He says funny things. He's a fucking idiot, man. He's an idiot. Exactly, bro. Yeah, wish Frampton hit him with a punch and knocked the big bully out. I agree, Mad Chad. Big up to Mike. Big up, man. Hope your week was good after that awful fight on Sunday. By the way, you hear Rigondeaux lost again? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he got dropped against the Filipino kid. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he lost again. Zoe Kravitz. Who's Zoe Kravitz? Are you tempting me with Zoe Kravitz. Yeah, she ain't bad, you know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. If you was a boxing coach, which fighters' styles, past or present, would suit your training methods? Very good question. I would say guys like just for long rangey boxer punchers, I would say guys like Vladimir Klitschko, Tommy Hearns, Jamel Charlo, the boxer puncher types, I would say, with reach, a bit of height and reach. That's my style. That's my forte. That's how I fought when I was fucking around with boxing. So I would say like the long range boxer punchers. I've got Riviera on points, Andre. Most anticipated fight of 2022. I honestly, I might say this weekend. I might say this weekend just because it's Roman Gonzalez. It's a great fight. I am looking forward to Fury versus White. I'll be honest. I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Spence versus Ugas as well, actually. That's a good fight. Martinez is still well overweight in his second attempt. Yeah, that's an embarrassment. Again, I like Martinez, as you guys know, but I can't make any excuses for that. That's an embarrassment. Yeah, Martinez missed weight. I want to see AJ fight Joyce now. Usyk won't be ready anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, this is probably the best thing to happen to Joshua because he's going to go with a new trainer. So he needs a fight where he can bed in with his new trainer. And I think this is ideal for him right now. If I was managing Joshua, I would have him fight a mid-tier southpaw, maybe like an Otto Wallin, for example. That's who I would have Joshua fight if I was managing him. To bed into his new trainer and get some chemistry together. And also have the experience of fighting a southpaw again in preparation for Usyk. I think this could be the best thing to happen to Joshua in regards to potentially winning a rematch. So could be a blessing. It could be a blessing in disguise for Anthony Joshua. We're going to see Charlo versus Lara this summer. I don't think so, bro. Personally, maybe. Who knows? You mean Jamal Charlo? Maybe, but I can't see it personally. I can't see it. Errol Spence and Ugas head to head is funny to look at, both of them. Yeah, Errol Spence looks different to me, man. Errol Spence just looked weird to me. I don't know what it was. I think he had his hair cut or something, but he didn't look right. I don't know why. Do you ever listen to the Mexican corridos? Lots of boxers use corridos when they come to the ring. Yeah, I've heard some of those cartel ones. Some of those actually quite, I'm not going to lie, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I mean, if I ever did YouTube full time, I'd probably learn Spanish. I'd take the time to try and learn it. But right now, I just don't have fucking time. I work full time. I do YouTube. I fucking do this, that, and the other. Time right now is a commodity. Like, I wanted to stream a lot sooner than this. Hey, Del, the weigh-in hasn't happened yet for Gonzalez versus Martinez. Why are people saying that Martinez is overweight then? Have I been trolled? Have I been trolled? Have I been trolled? I might have been trolled, you know. I might have been trolled. No, apparently. No, he's overweight. He's overweight. Jake Donovan's reporting it. So yeah, hang on. He's just had his second attempt and he's still well over the weight, yeah. So yeah, the weigh-in The weigh-in has happened. The weigh-in has happened. So right now, Julio Cesar Martinez is overweight. He's overweight. It was all a dream. I used to read all the magazines. Big up to It Was All a Dream. Thank you for the contribution. Much respect, bro. Always helps the channel out, man. It really does. So big up to yourself. Big up to yourself. Exactly. When America invaded Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan, Americans were never sanctioned, nor were they taken off the rankings. Exactly, bro. And not just America, but the UK as well. We went out there as well, certainly in Iraq and Afghanistan. So I personally don't like it. I see boxing as an individual sport. I don't think it's right that an individual is punished on the actions of the government in his country, especially when that government is described as a dictatorship. It makes no sense to me. I think it's wrong. I really do. I think it's wrong. Yeah, Shavon Clark looks like an exciting cruiserweight prospect. Can't wait to watch him fight again. Hard puncher, bro. I like him. He's 30, I think he's 30, 31 years old, so he can't be, he needs to be fast-tracked, basically, but he looks like he's got a pro style, which is good. And I'll tell you who else I liked watching on this past weekend. Galal Yafai. I know he got tagged up and that, but that's his style. He's an aggressive dude. Galal Yafai. He's going to be fun to watch. I like Galal Yafai. I really do. I like Yafai. Yeah, by that logic, we should have banned all fighters from the US for bombing the Middle East. Exactly. And let's be honest, let's look at the context of that war, in particular Iraq. That was an illegal occupation, as far as I'm concerned. That was based on a pure lie. But again, big up to It Was All a Dream. Big up to yourself. Yeah. And that's another thing, I hate to say it, but like with Canelo fights, there's been questionable things in the past. If Bivol gets robbed, I think that's just the narrative set for it, Russian man bad and all that. So, if he gets robbed, there's not going to be much sympathy for it. So, I don't know, man. You Big Doss, a great fight. I've got Ramirez on points. Pedraza, very good boxer, underrated in my opinion, but he's not the biggest puncher. And I think Ramirez, he's just a bigger guy at 140. I think that pressure might be a bit too much. Unless Ramirez is really struggling with weight, I can't see Pedraza winning, to be honest. Well, not that I can't see him winning, but I just think he's going to have a hard time. I'm going to go Ramirez on points in a competitive fight. Good fight, though. To be fair, John had the same energy in front of David Haye. Yeah, but in a studio, he never, from what I remember, he never came up to him, just in an arena with no TV crew around him. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't like John Fury. I think that guy's a bully. I really do. I mean, look at his criminal case, what he did. I mean, the guy he did it to wasn't exactly like a hulking fucking menace. So, I don't like John Fury. I really don't. I really don't. I'm not a fan of John. He wasn't even a Eurobum, Brandon Blanco. He wasn't even good. He wasn't even at the level of a Eurobum, John Fury. He was barely area level. Awful fighter. No power, glass chin. Yeah, Maris Briedis now. Stick a fork in him, bro. He's out here dressing like fucking Mario, making an absolute clown of himself. I don't know. I'm not sure whether that guy's got CTE from Usyk. Who knows? But he's acting like a crazy man right now. It's funny you say that for Londoner in the sticks. I never realised these fights were happening until this morning on my YouTube feed. Like Seconds Out, IFL were like talking about these random guys I'd never fucking heard of. I never heard of these guys, man. And I clicked on it and they're fucking YouTubers. So yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing, bro. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I mean, fair play to the guys who are doing it. I mean, if you can get paid, why not? I don't blame the guys doing it at all, but I'm just not interested. I mean, if the opportunity came up where I could do something like that, I'd probably do it if I was paid well. I'd probably do it. So I don't blame these guys. I don't blame them at all, but I don't really want to see it. Audley A Force Harrison versus John Fury on a Box Nation pay-per-view. I'd watch it, bro. Ugas might beat Spence. I like the fight. A bump of K. It's a good fight. Like people were shitting on that fight, but like Spence has been out for a long time. He's had that injury, so I like this fight. And Ugas is just a good fighter. He's a good fighter, and he's a champion. So I like the fight. I think it's the perfect fight for Errol Spence because it's a credible fight. It's a unification fight, but it's not Crawford. So you're going to see exactly what Spence has left in this fight. You're gonna see exactly what he has left, and quite frankly, I hope he wins this fight. I hope he puts on a good performance, and I hope we get that Crawford fight. That's what I want to see. I want to see Spence win. I want to see Spence look good, and then I want to see the Crawford fight. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Big up to yourself as well, Londoner in the sticks. Always here, man. Always supporting. It's much appreciated, man. Hopefully you have a good Friday evening and a great weekend, bro. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Rigondeaux's gone permanently blind. Are you serious? I wouldn't wish that upon him if that is the case. You must be trolling me, man. I'll piss off. Why's Conor McGregor on my feed, man? Piss off, Conor. You clown. Oh shit, you're right, bro. Guillermo Rigondeaux has been hospitalized after a pressure cooker exploded in his face, his manager Alex Bonote has revealed. Bonote said that Rigondeaux currently only has 20% of his vision as a result, but they remain hopeful he can make a full recovery. Damn, man. Sorry, man, I thought you was trolling, bro, Vector. I thought you was trolling. Listen, man, I'm not a fan of Rigondeaux in the ring, but I hope he makes a full recovery. I hope he makes a full recovery. Because that's fucked up, man. I hope he makes a full recovery. That's insane, man. That's insane. Yeah, fingers crossed he's okay, because losing your sight, man, is... I can't even imagine it. I really can't imagine it. Say what you want about his style. You know, he's not the most entertaining fighter, but he's a human being who's not really done it. He's not done anything wrong from what I can see. He seems to be pretty... He talks shit, but like he's not done anything crazy. So I hope Rigondeaux pulls through and is okay. Yeah, that's fucked up, man. It's crazy when you think about things like that, though. Like things we take for granted. Sight, hearing, smell, you know, the ability to touch things, the ability to walk, etc. It can be taken away from us at such short notice. Things we take for granted every single day. We all do. I do. I take so much... You look at... You read something like that, man, and it puts things into perspective, I guess you would say. You know, we complain about trivial things, but like, can you walk? Can you talk? Can you see? Can you smell? Can you taste? Are you relatively healthy? If the answer is yes, then you've got a fucking chance. You've got a fighting chance. But yeah, that's insane, man. Yeah, hopefully Rigondeaux recovers and he's okay. I heard Usyk wants to block AJ having an interim fight. I've not heard that personally, but we shall see. Chocolatito won't leave the fans without a show. He'll save it. I agree. Yeah, a pressure cooker blew up in Rigondeaux's face. That's crazy, man. Big up to Cannon. Big up to Rio as well. Salute to Rio every single time. Big up to Rio. Del, are you going to the Fury White fight? Probably not, to be honest. Probably not. Julio Cesar Martinez is still well over the limit after the second attempt. Discussion now taking place on how to proceed with Saturday's main event versus Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. I'd imagine that I'd imagine that Team Martinez will pay a fine. That's what I'd imagine would happen. Yeah, it's real, the Londoner in the sticks. It's real. Again, you can say what you want about Rigondeaux's style, but that doesn't warrant making light of that, in my opinion. That doesn't warrant that. You know, he's come from fuck all, from Cuba, come to the USA on the back of a fucking speedboat, basically, to try and get a better life. So, say what you want about his style, he's cracked it. He's cracked it, you know. He's escaped hardship, trained very hard in his life to obtain something. So, big up to Rigondeaux. Life precedes boxing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that could basically end his means of income. So yeah, Guillermo Rigondeaux, it's just come out that he's had a pressure cooker explode in his face, and he's at risk of losing eyesight, or at least some eyesight. To be honest, Brandon, I don't trust any of these mainstream publications right now. It doesn't matter where they're from. I don't listen to any of them. I really don't. It's on Twitter, Londoner in the Sticks. It's on Twitter. Michael Benson just tweeted it as well. It's kind of annoying though. Listen, I've got an edgy sense of humor, but like I'm looking on social media now, people making jokes. I've got an edgy sense of humor, but I don't know. Fuck that, man. I'm not joking about that. Yeah, exactly. A statement from his manager in a Spanish news site, translation on Michael Benson's Twitter. Do you think Crawford will fight twice this year? No, I can't see it. First and foremost, he's got no promoter. He's at odds with Bob Arum. I can't see it. We're March already. So let's say he gets a fight scheduled. I can't see it, bro. I can't see it personally. Yeah, so that's it, Rod. Yeah, a pressure cooker exploded in Rigondeaux's face, and right now he's got about 20% vision. Nothing against the innocent Ukrainians, but the virtue signaling by the normies is off the scale. Yeah, I agree. E-machines. That's what I was trying to think. E-machines. How does that even happen? How does a pressure cooker explode in your face? Shit happens, though, right? I guess shit happens. Could have been faulty. May not have been serviced. Who knows? Who knows? John Fury, the unbeaten bare-knuckle Spartan who's always ready for any man, apart from Mickey Feo or those two other dons who ironed him out in the boxing ring. Exactly, bro. He's a fighting man. Hard man. Del, don't be surprised if Michael Vieira gets upset in the upcoming fight. He's been down before. So you never know. But I think Riviera on points is the safe bet, Rio. I think that's the safe bet. Big up to Marianne G. Hopefully you're well, bro. Hopefully you're keeping well. But yeah, who have you guys got tonight, by the way, in Pedraza versus Ramirez? Anybody picking Pedraza? I've got Ramirez on points personally. But anybody picking Pedraza? I mean, listen, I wouldn't be surprised because there was talks of Ramirez going up in weight a while ago. And this fight's back at 140, so maybe he's weight drained. Who knows? I agree, Brandon. That's the sort of fight that I'm envisaging right now. It's like a competitive 8-4 type fight to Ramirez. It's a good fight though. I've got a lot of I really like both guys. I've got a lot of respect for Pedraza as well. He's always like the B side, but he's a beautiful boxer. Lovely straight punches, lovely rhythm to his style. Like Pedraza's a really good fighter to watch. I like Pedraza. And Ramirez, of course, pressure fighter, aggression. I always like that. So I like both guys. I could see Pedraza outboxing Ramirez like Zepeda did. Yeah, I can see moments in the fight where Pedraza is definitely outboxing Ramirez. But it's whether he can do it for enough rounds to get a decision. And whether he can, avoid that pressure and avoid fighting with Ramirez. That's the question. Can he do it for 12 rounds? But I think both guys are a credit to the sport. Ramirez and Pedraza. I like both guys. I really do. I really do. Both really good fighters. Yeah, Andre, I agree. Yeah, I'd say Ramirez UD, like Brandon says, like 8-4 type of fight. I'd love to see it, Q. I'd love to see it. Catterall versus Prograis. I've got Prograis, but listen, I was saying before that Taylor fight on streams, I was picking Taylor to win, so don't let me, I'm not getting it twisted. But I was saying before that fight, people were underrating Catterall in regards to what he can do. He's a tough dude who's awkward. He's got very good timing with his left hand. He disguises that straight left really well, and he's just a good, compact, well-rounded fighter. Jack Catterall does all of the basics well. He's a good fighter, but I think people underrated him going into that fight, including Josh Taylor. But in regards to Prograis, I think Prograis beats him. I don't think he'll make the same mistake that Taylor did, because he's seen Catterall now. He's seen what he can do, so he'll take that seriously. So I would say Prograis, maybe Prograis on points. Selby's fighting in Argentina this month. What Selby, Andrew or Lee? Andrew Selby or Lee Selby? That's the question. Oh, Lee Selby. He's fighting. Yeah, he's fighting in Argentina on the 26th of March against Gustavo Daniel Lemos. 27-0 with 17 knockouts. Interesting. I've never seen this Gustavo Daniel Lemos guy fight before. He's got a sick nickname, by the way. El Electrico. El Electrico. Electrico. That's a sick nickname. I like that. Ramirez will win, then fights Zepeda for the vacant WBC. Looking at the rankings, no reason to move up for him. At least Taylor can use super champion status to force a mandatory. Ramirez would have to earn it. But honestly, bro, based on that performance, if I'm Josh Taylor, I'm not going to see Crawford anytime soon. Again, I think weight had to do. Listen, I think the weight cut of Josh Taylor now is getting detrimental to his performance. But still, man, even if you look beyond that, technically in that fight against Catterall, he was awful. He was awful. Lee Selby, the Welsh Mayweather. Yeah, he's fighting in Argentina. Hopefully somebody picks that fight up. I want to see this Argentinian dude. He's got a good-looking record, 27-0, 17 knockouts. And the thing with these Argentinians, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes these unknown Argentinians turn into real good fighters, like Fernando Martinez this past weekend. And sometimes they just hit the deck and get fucked up. You never know what you're going to get. There's no in-between with these Argentinians. And Argentina need a few good, a few new boxers right now. They've got this Fernando Martinez who looks good. They've got Castano, but not much else. Yeah, even when Taylor moves up, like you say, Rio, 140 is going to be really fun. 140 is a great division. Even if Taylor moves up, there's some great fights. I want to see Prograis back in the mix. Zepeda, Jack Catterall, my boy Subriel Matias, all of these guys, man. Ergashev, of course. Ramirez, Pedraza. Oh yeah, Ramirez definitely bigger than Pedraza. Great fight, Rio. Gary Antoine Russell's another guy I like. Antoine Russell versus Subriel Matias, bro, sign me up. Both PBC. But I think what you'll get, I reckon you'll see Matias fight Jeremias Ponce, because when those, if you recall, the IBF made like a little tournament to declare the mandatory. So it was Matias versus Junkenbaev. Matias won. It was Ritson versus Ponce. Ponce won that fight, and the winners were supposed to fight each other. So I'd imagine we're going to get Matias versus Ponce, which would be a great fight, by the way. Yeah, I didn't like that, to be honest. Josh Taylor right now is kind of feeling himself a bit too much. He's feeling himself a bit too much. I think he knew. I think he knows he got lucky. I think he knows he got lucky in that fight. I personally felt Catterall won by a couple of points, maybe 2 or 3 points, something like that. The only thing I didn't like from Catterall was his holding in the second half of that fight. But, apart from that, I felt Catterall won. No, I wouldn't say Ponce has no pop. He's got okay power. But I just think he gets run over by Matias. I think he gets run over, bro. I really do. But I like Matias, man. I really do. I like him a lot. Again, it's just violence. It's just pure aggression, man. It's none of this tip-tap bullshit. One second. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ponce versus Matias, great fight, bro. Heidel, Wasserman Boxing multi-event deal with Channel 5 might be some good fights. Yeah, Wasserman have Eubank Jr. So Eubank Jr. could be back on Channel 5. Who would have thought it? But yeah, it's always good to see boxing on terrestrial TV, Mr. Relax. Like, I'll tell you what, Channel 5, they put on some good fights. They're not at the highest level, but they're usually really well matched. I had that fight 114, 111 to Jack Catterall. Yeah, similar to me, Q. Apparently, fight is going ahead. Martinez will have to do a same day weigh-in. If he's still overweight, I don't know. We shall see. Fingers crossed. If that fight gets called off tomorrow, I'm going to be fucking raging. I think Taylor's going to go to 147. Do you think he can beat any of the champions at that weight? Good question, DMD. One thing I'll say, listen, Taylor looked awful in that fight. I think we can all agree. However, I think it's unwise to write off a guy based on one performance. If we see what Josh Taylor did before then, he was mightily impressive. So I wouldn't be quick to write him off, but I wouldn't suggest that he goes straight into a big fight at welterweight. I think he needs a couple of fights where he beds in at the weight, maybe against the likes of Josecito Lopez and then maybe David Avanesian kind of thing. Fight a couple of those sort of guys and then challenge for world titles. That's what I would say. I think going up and fighting a top guy straight away, especially Crawford, probably he'll come unstuck, in my opinion. Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, Barrios would not beat Josh Taylor. Rio, yeah, that's it. Again, though, boxing fans are reactionary, and I think we're all guilty of this at times, no doubt about it. But listen, you can't just overwrite what he did previously based on one bad performance, you know. And there could have been other factors. Weight. I'll be honest. I don't like the link up between Davison and Josh Taylor. I don't trust Ben Davison with Josh Taylor. There's a few things right now that I'm not certain about around Josh Taylor, so we shall see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Rio, that's a good point as well. I'll be interested to see how Flores looks tonight after that beating he took. Yeah, he got fucked up. He got fucked up in his last fight. And they could have stopped that fight as well. I think his corner could have stopped it, saved him the beating. Ugas versus Taylor has always intrigued me. I like that fight as well. Apparently Taylor fucked him up in sparring, but that doesn't really mean anything. Doesn't really mean much, you know? So we'll see. That'll be a good fight. I'd like to see it. Yeah, Barrios is C-level Q. I agree. Oh yeah, he got fucked up, bro. He got absolutely fucked up. He got fucked up against the guy who beat what's his name? That gypsy kid. What's that kid's name? Not the kid's name, but that Mexican guy came over here and fucked one of our guys up. What's his name? Isaac Lowe? Is it Isaac Lowe? Yeah, I think it's Isaac Lowe. Yeah, Isaac Lowe. I'm sure it was. Yeah, because it was Luis Alberto Lopez, yeah. And he fucked up Isaac Lowe and Gabriel Flores, yeah. Yeah, Bernardo Lopez, yeah. And I'm pretty sure he's Mando for Kiko Martinez. Well, he's mandatory for the Kiko Martinez Josh Warrington winner. I'm pretty sure. So that'll be interesting. I'll tell you what fight I'd like to see, Brandon. I'd like to see Lopez versus Lara. That'd be great. That'd be a great fight. Love to see that fight. And yeah, Maurizio Lara's fighting tomorrow night on the undercard of Gonzalez. Gonzalez versus Martinez. Yeah, Isaac Lowe, yeah. Because Isaac Lowe got fucked up in that fight. He got dropped numerous times to the body. Numerous times. But I'd like to see him again. I'd like to see him again, Lopez. I think he'll get a big fight, though, because he's coming off 2 really good wins. He's highly ranked. So he'll get some big fights now. It's annoying, though, like, Maurizio Lara, how is Josh Warrington fighting for the IBF title? When Lara fucking put that guy in a body bag first time around. And in the second fight, yeah, Lara got cut, but Lara was going to win that fight, in my opinion. Yet here we have Lara, he's fighting before Warrington, but Warrington gets the title shot. That's embarrassing. Why is David Benavidez inactive and fighting Journeyman? Good question. Very good question. I like Benavidez, but it's a shame. It's a shame. I'm not sure what the problem is. I guess he's over there at PBC. They don't really have many good options for him at 168. I guess that's the problem. But I think he's fighting Lemieux next, if I'm correct. I think he's fighting David Lemieux next. That's a good fight. I mean, listen, I say it's a good fight. Lemieux's past it, so who knows? But I just want to see David Benavidez active again, fighting more than twice a year. Great fights. I want to see Venado Lopez against Maxeo or against Lee Wood. Yeah, I agree. Great fights. But again, Brandon, I mean, Lee Wood's fighting Michael Conlan. I'm not sure about that fight, you know. I'm not sure who I'm going to pick. Lee Wood's improved a lot since his domestic days, no doubt about it. But how good is he? I'm not sure. Again, I'm not exactly high on Conlan, but Conlan has an awkward style. He can make you look bad. I don't know, man. That's a good fight. That's a good fight, Conlan versus Lee Wood. That's a good fight. Yeah, I've lost a lot of respect for Josh Warrington. Before the whole Lara debacle and before he vacated the IBF, I didn't have a bad word to say against Josh Warrington. He was fighting good guys. He tried to make the Gary Russell fight. He was doing the right things. But, you know, he vacated that title, then basically cherry-picked Lara, got knocked out, and then the rematch, he basically found a way out, you know, because he knew he was getting knocked out, and here we have him fighting for a world title. That sort of career trajectory should not be like rewarded, surely. How is he fighting for an IBF title when just over 12 months ago he vacated it to not fight his Mando? How does that work? It makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. And I was somebody who liked Josh Warrington, but I can't co-sign what he's done in the last 12, 16 months, whatever. I can't make excuses for him. Who's that Mexican who KO'd that Brit on Eddie's show? I think he was in one round and he was undefeated. Yeah, Giovanni Straffon. Yeah, he beat James Tennyson and then lost to Maxi Hughes. Yeah. I'm glad Kid Galahad got knocked out by Kiko, a drug cheat. Yeah, that knockout, bro. That knockout came out of nowhere. Like, Kid Galahad was winning the fight. And boom, my man gets fucking dropped, and soon after he gets stopped. Fucking great knockout, man. Great fucking knockout. That's what you watch boxing for. Shit like that. That was good shit. I'm gonna do like 7 things at once here. Exactly, yeah. Lara should have got the shot. I agree. Yeah, but again, Johnny Nelson said that fucking James Tennyson stops Gervonta Tank Davis. Fucking hell, man. Embarrassing. Say what you want about Tank Davis, but he goes through James Tennyson in a round. I'm sorry, but he fucks that guy up. Fucking Johnny Nelson. The man who belches, again, I like that name. Lemieux fight confirmed for May today. Benavidez 100% full of shit when he was saying literally 2 days ago he'd take way less money than his manager asked for so he could fight Andrade. But the fight can't happen though because Andrade's fighting Zach Parker. He's fighting Zach Parker, right? So he can't really fight Andrade next anyway. And the way it was worded between the WBO and WBC, Andrade would fight Parker, Benavidez would fight Lemieux, and the winners would fight each other. That's how it was worded originally. So we'll see whether that transpires. I hope it does. I agree. I totally agree. Why has nobody asked Hearn or Warrington about him ducking Lara after headbutting his way out of another beatdown, then jumping the queue for a title shot for the title he gave up? Shithousery. Exactly. Nobody's asked the question, why is Josh Warrington getting a title shot over Lara? Why? Makes no sense to me, man. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It's insane. Fair enough, yeah. If Warrington beats Martinez and then fights Lara again, fair enough. I'll accept that. But I've got a feeling he wants no parts of Lara. That's what I think. I think he's perfectly happy with that technical draw, or that whatever it was, no contest, technical draw. He can make some bullshit fucking excuse that he was outboxing Lara and he was gonna comfortably outpoint him. Nobody believes that, apart from Warrington and his team. I think most people felt Warrington was going to get knocked out again. I personally do. Ivan Redcatch is a fucking weirdo, Brandon. He's a weirdo. Lara should become mandatory within the next year. Does Warrington vacate again? I'll tell you what, bro. In the IBF, I think Lopez is mandatory. The guy who beat Isaac Lowe and Gabriel Flores Jr. And I'll tell you what, man, that kid is fucking strong. He's not technically great, but he's big for the weight. He comes in with a lot of pressure. He has power. And as we know, Warrington fought a guy like that in Lara and got fucking squashed. So don't be surprised if Warrington vacates again. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Johnny Nelson, who said Bellew is technically better than Usyk. Yep, the same Johnny Nelson. Pick up the Bullsh UK. Baby ting, yeah, indeed. Baby ting. I hope there's a rematch between Josh and Lara. Before I said Josh would beat Lara on points, but now, Lara knocks him out. Josh is avoiding him like the plague, no doubt, exactly. And I'll tell you what, yeah, Josh boxed well in that first round. He was a lot more tight with his style, keeping his guard, and he won the first round. But that second round, man, Lara started to touch him, and you could see the composure going from Josh Warrington. He was having flashbacks. You could see that Warrington's construct got a lot more loose. He looked a bit more nervous. You know, when he started feeling that power, even on the arms and gloves, he started to feel it. So I don't know. I just think Lara's one of those guys. Lara, I'm not saying Lara necessarily is going to go on to have a stellar career, but I just think stylistically, Lara's all wrong for Warrington. One of those style matchup things. I just think he's wrong for Warrington because, as we know, Warrington's a buzzsaw. He's not really a boxer. He's a buzzsaw. Likes to outwork you, trade up close, push you back, and outwork you. Well, Lara's going to meet him in the center of the ring. He's bigger, he's stronger, he hits harder, he's got a good gas tank, he's got a good chin. He can match Warrington in that sort of fight, but he's got power. You know? So I think Warrington's always going to struggle with Lara. And to tell you the truth, I think he'd always struggle with big, powerful pressure fighters. Oh, Pussy Riot. I forget about Pussy Riot. I remember them back in the day, yeah. Nah, you can't be serious, Rio. I saw Josh Warrington about to get fucking knocked out again. That's what I saw, man. Again, the first round, it looked promising for Josh Warrington. He was boxing well, but to me, the second round, as soon as Lara started touching him, like to me, the writing was on the wall, man. I could see the panic. I could see I don't want to say fear because that sounds corny, but I could just see the apprehension in Josh Warrington's game, in his construct, in his stance, in his movements. You know? Big up to Lee Davis. Big up to Lee Davis. Hopefully you're well, bro. Nice to see you, bro, on this fine Friday evening here in the dark old UK. Did you see politicians clapping for the Ukrainian ambassador in Parliament? I've not seen it, bro. I try to avoid mainstream news and shit. I try to avoid it. I don't pay for a TV license, put it that way. So, yeah, I try to avoid it, man. Lara's power was definitely starting to trouble Josh in that second round in the rematch. Then the headbutts. Navarrete said that Lara was arguably the hardest puncher he's been in with. Yeah, that's what Lara said before the first fight. He basically said that they're making a big mistake here. Yeah, this guy's unknown, but he hits fucking hard. And Josh found that out. That's the thing with these unknown Mexican fighters. You could be picking a cherry that's sour. You could be picking a sour cherry and you could get fucking found out. Oh, well, actually, I think there were headbutts in the first round too, but he ramped it up in the second round after feeling the power. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Sonny Edwards offers to step in for Julio Cesar Martinez. Sonny said he's failed to make weight twice. It looks like the fight's still going ahead, Volts UK. Yeah, man, it's been okay, bro. Just work, work and shit. It's been a long week, actually. It's been a long week, man. The start of a month is always pretty long because of I work in finance, so it's like statement reconciliation and shit like that. It's fucking long, but it's been okay, man. I can't complain. I've got a roof over my head and shit. I've got a job. I get money, so what? I mean, it's not the end of the world. I think that light heavyweight for Canelo's a lot more tricky with Bivol and Beterbiev, but we shall see. Yeah, great fight, Sonny Edwards versus Galauya fight. Yeah, great fight. I'd like to see it in the near future because Galauya fight is going to be fast tracked. He's 29 years old, so he's not going to be messing around. Don't be surprised if he's fighting for a world title in his fifth or sixth fight. Good for my money if Martinez has to drain himself overnight. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Again, I'm not sure how he's missed weight when he's moving up in weight. It makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. The last time I heard he was injured, Murat Gassiev. That's the last I heard. The last I heard he was injured. I think Bivol beats Canelo by UD, but does he get the decision cue? That's the question. That's the question. And big up to Levi Khan. Salute to Levi. Big up to Levi, man, every single time. And big up to Triple J as well. Nice to see you, man, on this fine Friday. Yeah, Ugas needs a KO to earn a draw against Errol Spence. Exactly, bro. It's in Texas. And as we know, Texas is one of the worst states in America when it comes to decisions. It's one of the worst states. It's got a history of bad decisions. So yeah, Ugas needs to fucking do a miracle to get a win. He really does. Listen, man, even 11-4 is very good for Dimitri Bivol, but knowing what we know about boxing politics, I wouldn't touch Bivol with a barge pole in terms of betting. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, so he's missed weight even while moving up. Exactly, bro. Satsumi Nakayama. Murata is the best fighter. Big up to Murata, man. He's fighting Golovkin in April. Great fight. Great fight, man. Murata's a big puncher, Olympic gold medalist. He can fight. He can definitely fight. And if he's like well past his best, he can win that fight. But if Golovkin has anything left, Golovkin should win. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But it's good to see Golovkin back in the ring against a decent guy. Because I'll tell you the truth, the whole Golovkin DAZN thing's been a fucking failure. In my opinion, it's been boring, it's been dull, it's been uneventful. But I'm glad he's taken this fight. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. A unification fight as well, which is always good. Yeah, I think Sonny's just clout chasing Marianne. Oh, Satsumi, he's then beating Canelo. Yeah, Sonny Edwards has so many accents. He's got London Roadman, Mancunian Roadman, a more introspective British accent. He's got so many accents, man. Sonny Edwards, it's crazy. We need our fellow Texan John Gonzalez to fix the judging in Texas. I don't think there'll be any judges left, bro. If John Gonzalez had anything to do with it, there wouldn't be any judges left, bro. That might be a good thing, to be honest. That might be a good thing. He's also got the West Midlands metrosexual. Yeah, Sonny's a weird dude. I'll be honest though, Sonny's a much better fighter than I originally gave him credit for. He's done a lot better than I expected. So I'm not gonna hate on the dude. And his Twitter account is worth a follow. You'll be entertained at least. I'll say that much. You'll be entertained. He's one of those guys, yeah. He's got some great takes and some absolute abomination of takes as well. There's no in between with Sonny Edwards. But I like him, man. He's good fun, Sonny Edwards. He's good fun. Oh, they're saying the fight's back in jeopardy again, man. You're kidding. What? Why does boxing do this to us, man? Why does boxing do this to us? Boxing's like that chick, like fat ass, nice thick thighs, big old boobies. She's leading you on, she's flirting. You think you're going to get in there. And then all of a sudden, oh, I've got a boyfriend. That's what boxing is, man. That's what boxing is. And I've been there, with those sort of girls. Wasting hours, man, just trying to slide in there. Oh, I've got a boyfriend. Could have told me that fucking 4 hours ago. That's what boxing is, man. Embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. Yeah, Audley Harrison was on Twitter just rinsing people all night. Yeah, I liked it. Sonny said he can be in over 80. He can be there in 18 hours. Send the contract. If he did that, that'd be crazy. Indeed, Nordic. You know me too well. Fat ass and nice thick thighs. Del Sol, laugh out loud. And when I say thick, I don't mean fat. I don't mean obese. I mean thick. Regular thick. Regular thick. Just well put together. You got to have a little something to grab hold of. That's how I see it. He shat it, came in over on purpose. Shat himself. He shat himself. Yeah, I'm disappointed in Martinez. As you guys know, I really like Martinez, but this is a bad look, especially going up in weight. Bad look, man. I don't know what he's been doing. You might be right, Nordic. You might be right. You might be right. It'll be just my luck, Nordic, man. But I'm usually pretty good at reading those signs. Usually I know, like, this chick's not into me, man. I need to fucking go while I've still got my dignity. But I've had it, like, where the bitch is, like, touchy-feely and shit. like proper into it. And then at at the end of the night when you got to make your move, oh, I've got a boyfriend. Like, bitch, please, man. You've wasted my night. I could have been trying to get it on with somebody else, and you've wasted my night. You absolute selfish bitch. It's insane. These chicks are crazy, man. I'm telling you. Man. I fucking there's this chick from Harlow, place in the UK. Bro, I nearly got my head kicked in, bro. Nearly got my head kicked in. That was like getting out the back of a door type of shit. Like, that bitch never told me she had a boyfriend, and that dude was wedge because I Facebook stalked her a while later, and that dude was fucking hench. He'd have fucked me up. I'm not scared to I'm not scared to admit it. He'd have fucked me up. So I got out of there quick time, double quick time. Of course I'm on the bevies, bro. It's Friday night, man. What do you take me for? We ain't no punk over here. I'm on Stella Artois right now. To be honest, I wouldn't want to watch Sonny Edwards running around the ring tippy tapping. I can appreciate that he does have a very high skill set, but I do find him really boring, not very entertaining to watch. I think he's okay because, yeah, he's a mover, but he is quite active with his work, so he's not the worst to watch in my opinion. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, the herbal tea didn't agree with Julio. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, Nordic's a good dude, man. I like Nordic. I've been following Nordic for a long time. That's the problem, Dell. You've got to leave that dignity at the door. Yeah, that's true, you know. Listen, I can talk about dignity all I want, but if you've seen some of the monstrosities that I've been with, bro, is dignity even real? Who the fuck knows, man? Poken boxing. Bob Arum definitely touched a couple of kids in his lifetime. Allegedly, that's not the thoughts of Blue Collar Sports TV. You know, when they say I have a boyfriend, I normally take it as go big or go home and say I don't give a fuck, love. I know you want a good rinsing, so I got a towel to wring out. Yeah, basically dry humping, and then she pulls the rug right from under you. Exactly, bro. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. There's nothing worse, yeah. There's nothing worse than getting cock blocked either by I've been cock blocked by a friend on more than one occasion. That's fucking terrible. But when that bitch leads you on just for attention, that makes me feel a certain type of way. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, does he let you have guy friends? Oh man. That'd be a great job, Albanian boxer. Imagine being security at a boxing event, you getting paid to be there and free boxing. Exactly, yeah. I'll tell you what, though. Speaking of boxing security, Dillian White versus Tyson Fury is going to be trouble. That's going to be trouble, man. I'm telling you now. That's going to be trouble. There's going to be a lot of fights there. I guarantee you. Yeah, big up to Brandon Blanco, big up to Nordic Warrior, big up to Triple J. Balkan boxing in the house as well, unrivaled. What I like about this channel, everybody's pretty based, and I don't mean that like ironically. I mean, nobody here takes themselves too seriously, which I like. You know, these nerdy boxing channels. Oh, well, so-and-so's got this and that, and he's done this and that. Everything's so serious. Fuck all that shit. Nobody likes that shit. When it's for live streams on this channel, we talk shit. We talk shit. We talk about boxing. We talk about life. We talk about fat women. We talk about all sorts, man. You name it. You name it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Nordic getting paid to watch fights and then throw out the piss heads. Exactly. You're the Larry Merchant of the group, Del Boy, and Unrivaled. Nordic. Unrivaled would be Jim Lampley, and Del Boy is the Manny Stewart. I'll take that, actually. I'll take that. Yeah, get a Warrington haircut. You'd be a pimp. Old Josh Warrington rocking the Lloyd Christmas haircut. I forgot to do something. I'm a fucking cunt. Here we go. Let me just type in a little quick shitty comment. Hope you're doing well. Okie dokie. Let's pin that shit to the comments. Boom. Boom. One second, guys. I'm being a fucking cunt here. I'm neglecting you guys. I do apologize. I do apologize. Okie dokie. I'm being a bit of a cunt, by the way. I'm drinking on an empty stomach. I've not eaten all day, so I'm a little more pissed than I should be. I don't get why White doesn't have box office shares for the fight. Shouldn't both men get it? No, because it's a purse bid. It's a split. It's a split. It's a split. The split is set in stone. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I like Larry Merchant as well. The old school HBO commentary, really, it was Larry Merchant, Jim Lampley, and Manny Stewart. Those were the guys. Honestly, to me, it was Larry Merchant and Manny Stewart. Jim Lampley, I could take him or leave him. Max Kellerman's terrible in my opinion. I don't like Max Kellerman. No, I agree, Albanian boxer. I totally agree. I'd rather watch YouTube boxing than watch fucking Joe Laws. Straight up, I agree. I think Canelo will have a go at cruiserweight eventually. That's where I think he'll level out. YouTube's fucked, bro, Marianne G. Not seeing all of the chat comments for some reason. Not had this before, as far as I know. Bro, YouTube these days, man, is completely fucked. It's no longer for what was YouTube's motto back in the day? Like for creators. It's no longer for creators. It's for big conglomerate media companies now. That's what it's for. Basically, But it is what it is. Yeah, a Felix Cash accent and a Warrington haircut. You'd be the Hugh Hefner of BBWs. Man, I don't even know where this BBW thing come from, by the way. I've got no idea. But it just stuck. So we're gonna live up to the meme, you know? We're gonna live up to the meme. And I kid you not, this is like my Bill Clinton moment. I swear to God, I swear I've never had any sexual relations with a BBW. And I swear to God that's the truth. Genuinely, I've never, ever, hand on heart, cross my finger, hand on heart, all that shit. I've never had relations with a proper BBW. Genuinely. Yeah, broadcast yourself. Yeah, exactly. Not sure, but I'm a fan of Laura Woods. There's something about Laura Woods I quite like. I don't know what it is. I think she's all right. Something about her. Lol. Not sure, bro. Not sure. Not sure how to go about that fight. I think that's 50-50. Lee Wood's looking better recently, but Michael Conlan's got that awkward style. He can negate. He can lower the tempo, outpoint you kind of thing. It's in Nottingham though, where Lee Wood is from. So I'm not sure. I think I probably would lean towards Lee Wood, but it's a hard fight to call in my opinion. Ever since I've watched your stuff, I've heard about the BBWs, and that's got to be 18 plus months. No smoke without fire, Del. Again, like, I've got no idea where this come from. This really is just a smear campaign against this channel, against my character, stopping me from conquering the YouTube boxing scene. That's all it is. It's just a smear campaign. It's nothing more, nothing less. I mean, if anybody can tell me where this came from, I've got no fucking idea. I've got no idea. I think you guys really are like, you're Russian bots out to get me. You're channel meddling. You're meddling with my growth. Oh man. XMB, Chris Colbert is a prime example of why prospects should not sign with PBC from the start of their career. I'm not sure whether I agree, to be honest. I just don't think Chris Colbert was all that great. That's what I think personally. I like him as a person. He's funny as fuck, but he's not. He's one of those guys I would describe as style over substance. That's how I would describe Chris Colbert. I've not seen it, Ian Ward. I've not seen it, but I've seen it on my feed, but I've not clicked on it yet. Honestly, Ian, I just can't stand listening to Ben. I just can't. I don't like listening to him. So it'll be a chore to sit through. But I've not seen it. You know I'm right. The channel's been railroaded by these fake rumors, these false allegations. Championship mentality. Yeah, exactly. Ben Davidson's a PE teacher. Colbert let a little bit of that hype from that Netflix show go to his head. I never even knew he was on Netflix, bro. That's the first I've heard of it. Genuinely. Yeah, Colbert turned pro 2 years before Stevenson, yet the latter has more fights and is a 2-time world champion. That is true, but Shakur is just better than fucking Chris Colbert. He's much better. A lot better. And he was a bigger name. Olympian, silver medalist, etc. He was always going to get more opportunities, kind of thing. So it's one of those. Del has tabs of Lizzo on his incognito browser. Of course, man. Of course. to do like 17 million things at once here. Dream threesome. Dream threesome. I'm going to say a prime Denise Richards and a prime Denise Richards. Who's the second one? Who's the second one? I'll say Demi Rose Morby. There's my dream threesome. Oh, it's painful. I'm not surprised, Ian. That's what I would expect. That's what I would expect. Bro, I've got one more Stella left, and I've got a little bit of vodka left with nothing to mix it with, and I've got some fucking whiskey with nothing to mix it with. So I don't particularly fancy the spirits tonight, so I think I'm going to call it a night after this last Stella. Astounding, bro. Denise Richards in her prime was absolutely gorgeous. Fucking beautiful woman, man, in her prime. She was absolutely gorgeous. Let's have a look at Denise Richards in her prime. Denise Richards, Starship Troopers. It's 1997, man. I was brought up on shit like that, those sort of films. She was banging back in Starship Troopers, man. Absolutely banging. She looks like a crackhead now with all of her plastic surgery, but like back in her day, she was banging. In my opinion, at least. Yeah, Denise Richards played the scientist in that Bond movie. Yeah, talk about poor casting. I liked Starship Troopers as well, man. I liked that movie. I liked that movie a lot. Man, but movies back then were so much more fun. So much more fun. Like, I grew up on like 80s, like 70s, 80s, 90s movies. I'll be honest, mainly horror. Like, I used to love like the Friday the 13th movies, Halloween, Freddy Krueger movies. You know, when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old, I was watching that sort of shit. And yeah, man, like, I was always a weird kid though. Like, I grew out of cartoons very quickly. Like, I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I could not. I didn't like cartoons anymore. I was watching shit like Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and all that shit. I was a weird fucking kid, man. Weird fucking kid. Like, if you knew me, honestly, I think back then, if I saw my old self back then, I'd probably think I'd turn into be a serial killer. Like, let's say my old self was another kid, and I was looking at that kid's behavior, I'd assume he'd grow up to be a serial killer. I was a weird kid, man. But yeah, Starship Troopers was good, man, and she was banging Denise Richards back then. Yo, Del, have you played the horror game Clock Tower 3? Great game for the PS2. Been playing it recently. I've been playing classic horror games. Not played it. In terms of classic horror games, Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2. There was an old game on PS1 called Nightmare Creatures, which I really liked. Obviously, I played the old Resident Evils and shit like that. Actually, the plan is on my second channel, I'm going to do a stream where we play a horror game. Just do a stream and play a game kind of thing. And I'm looking for a horror game to play. I'm thinking of Outlast, if you guys have heard of that shit. I've never played it, but apparently it's good, but we'll see. But I like horror. Well, I liked horror games back in the day. I don't play video games now that much, but I kind of want to get back into it. Yeah, I liked Resident Evil back in the day, though. I liked it. I liked that shit, man. Fuck. Yeah, Silent Hill 2, man, was fucking great. I don't think I ever completed that as a kid. I'm sure I didn't. I'm pretty certain I didn't, but I remember enjoying it. And there was another game on PS1 called like Shadow Man, and that was a great fucking game, man. That was a great game. I always remember the music on that game was so fucking good. Like the soundtracks back then were so good on video games. Yeah, Shadow Man on PS1. It was like a horror. It was a horror game. That was really good. I'm surprised like nobody's heard of it though if I say it now. But Shadow Man was really good back in the day. I think Bivol got the style to really give Canelo problems, but it's whether he can actually get a fair shake. It is the question. Yeah, that was one of the original games where it had multi different endings. That's quite a common thing now, but back in the day, it wasn't really a thing that much. It's a weird one though, Will Stokes. Let's say boxing was a fair and just sport. I'd probably pick Bivol to win, I'll be honest. But like we know it's not. So like Bivol could win 7 rounds to 5, right? Let's say the majority of boxing fans think Bivol wins 7 clear rounds to 7. Yeah, 7 clear. Let's say he's won 7 clear rounds, and most boxing fans feel that he won that fight. He's not going to get the decision. So it's one of those. It's one of those. I'm good. I'm good. 150, man. I'm good. Hopefully you're keeping well, man. I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, Kovalev hits harder than Bivol, no doubt about it. Prime for prime, yeah. Kovalev hits harder than Bivol, yeah. Absolutely. But he forgot that power against Canelo, like he was playing tip-tap boxing. Should have called him Sergey Malinagi in that fight, I tell you that. And by the way, guys, check out 150 Dream Team. He does streams. He's got a channel himself. He jumps on various panels. Really, really cool dude. Really cool dude, man. He's again like when you talk about boxing on YouTube, there's so many ignorant people who just shout and scream and do God knows what else. But 150 is a class act. Really, really good dude, man. So big up to 150. Check out his channel. And also check out Nordic's channel as well, man. Nordic's a good dude as well. I've been following Nordic for a long time. That's how I feel. 150 as well. I'm pulling for Bivol in a fair world. I'd pick Bivol, but we don't live in that world, right? We don't live in that world, so Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he could beat Canelo. If we're talking about let's take the judges aside. Do I believe he can do enough in a 12-round fight to beat Canelo? Yes, I do. I do. I mean, we saw a shot Sergey Kovalev coming off a fight like just before that against Canelo. Like he was giving, in terms of the scorecards, he was very close with Canelo Alvarez, just on the basis of throwing a jab and moving backwards. Bivol a lot fresher, a lot more active, a lot more athletic. In his prime, he can replicate a similar game plan with more activity, with more speed, with more durability. He can replicate that game plan, no doubt about it. Because Canelo in that Sergey Kovalev fight looked sluggish. He looked sluggish to me at 175. So yeah. Again, if we're taking like judges aside, yeah, I do believe B-Roll can beat Canelo Alvarez. I do. Exactly, yeah. Like Bivol could win 8 rounds to 4, and he will still lose. He'll still lose. He'll still lose. Yeah, Bivol's timing, distance control, and punch selection will win him the fight combined with his size. But again, is he going to get the decision? Like Bivol is a tremendous technical boxer. The only thing I worry about is the lack. I'm not saying he's got a lack of power. I think he hits hard enough, but it's the lack of killer instinct. It's the lack of killer instinct for me with Dimitri Bivol. That's one thing you can say about Bivol. He never goes through the gears. Like, there's been certain fights where I thought to myself, he should have stopped that dude, and he could have. Like Lenin Castillo, for example. Even Craig Richards. There were times in that fight when Bivol would open up with a 4 or 5 punch combination, and Craig Richards had no idea what to do. But Bivol never capitalized on it. Fuck. I'm tight, bro. Yeah, Bivol has respectable power, amazing right hand. His power is deceiving. Yeah, like if you Bivol early on in his career was getting a lot of knockouts, but when he stepped up, the knockouts kind of stopped. I don't necessarily think it's because the competition increased. He was just more cautious in his approach. He realized that the guys he was fighting were a lot better than he was previously fighting, so he kind of tightened up a bit, didn't take as many risks, and that's harmed his knockout ratio, no doubt about it. Curious to see how Bivol deals with the body shots and pressure. He hasn't fought many pressure fighters in his career. But would you call Canelo like a world class pressure fighter? To me, Canelo's a world class counterpuncher. When I see him applying pressure, I see the guy coming in straight lines, following a guy around the ring. You know, he's fighting guys who can't really negate pressure. Guys like Caleb Plant, another guy who goes back in straight lines, sits on the ropes. You know, I mean, stylistically, I think B-roll is very interesting for Canelo Alvarez. I really do. Who trains B-roll? That's a very good question. I've got no fucking idea. That is true. Yeah, Canelo is way more experienced. He's had those big fight atmospheres, and he's fought better competition. No doubt about it, and that matters. That does matter to a certain extent, but you know, sometimes some guys are just ready for the moment. Is Bivol one of those guys? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Timing goes to Canelo. Speed is equal. Footwork to Bivol. Power is equal. I'd probably say that's about right. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. I would say Bivol, Dave. I would say Bivol. Benavidez to me is a wild card because, quite frankly, I like the dude, but I don't really know how good he is. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the next coming of Christ. But stylistically, he's interesting just because he throws so many punches. He's got a great work rate, fast combinations, decent power. He's huge for the weight as well. And he's got a lot of raw talent. Benavidez to me is like a bit of a wild card when it comes to Canelo. I don't really know what to expect. You might be right. You might be right, the man who belches. You might be right. You might be right. I can't lie. You might be right. But we shall see. We shall see. I certainly don't think he'll fold like Billy Joe Saunders. I don't think he'll fall off a cliff like Caleb Plant. One thing we know, Bivol has a 12-round gas tank. He really does. Even against guys like Joe Smith Jr., who was applying pressure, who did have that threat of power, Bivol never really switched off, and he kept going for 12 rounds. In fact, he finished that fight strong, Dimitri Bivol. So we know Bivol has got a 12-round gas tank. We know he can take a shot. We saw that against Joe. Like, if you look at that fight, I forget which round it was, but there was a moment where, like, the round basically just ended. The bell went. Bivol relaxed his body, and then Joe cracked him with an overhand. I think it was an overhand right. And Bivol wasn't expecting the punch. And yeah, he was buzzed, but he never went down. He was never seriously hurt. And that was a point where he relaxed his body. He wasn't expecting the shot. And Joe Smith basically had a free shot on him. And Bivol never went down. And he was never like hurt to the extent where you thought to yourself, this is a problem. So I think Bivol has a good chin. I think he can take a punch, you know? And does Canelo Alvarez hit harder than Joe Smith Jr.? Probably not. Let's be honest, Canelo is unbeatable until the boxing world deems him worthy of being discarded. But right now, yes, I would say you're right, Nordic. Exactly, Marianne G. Yeah, was an overhand right to the top of the temple area. Yeah, and that was when Bivol thought the round was over, so he relaxed. He wasn't defending himself. He wasn't expecting a punch. He still got caught, and yeah, again he got buzzed, but he was never like fucked. He was never out on his feet, kind of thing. So the guy has a chin, Dimitri Bivol. He's got a chin. He's got a chin. There's no doubt about it. The thing is, Jesus, it's with Canelo Alvarez. I just think with Canelo, it's the asterisks in regards to his career. So like certain decisions that have gone his way, the PEDs, political A side. Like if you look at his resume on paper, his resume is great. Like if you look at his resume purely on paper, you don't take into account the context of these fights or the build-up, etc. His resume is great. Nobody would dispute that, but I think with Canelo, it's just like the political A-side favors that he gets in regards to his career. That's what I think people have a problem with, similar to Floyd Mayweather back in the day. That's what I think. That's how I see it anyway with Canelo. Like, you're not going to hear me say Canelo's a bad fighter. He's a great fighter, like in terms of talent, skill, ability. The guy's world class, but like he's had a lot of favors in his career. We can't dispute that. We can't dispute that. Like, for example, let's say Canelo was a B-side fighter. Let's say he wasn't a big seller in terms of tickets. And he was a B-side fighter. Do you think he would have got the decision against Erislandy Lara? Probably not. Would he have got the decision against... Well, would he have got a draw against Golovkin in that first fight? Probably not. Would he got a win over Golovkin in the second fight? Probably not. Like, if he wasn't an A-side fighter. Plus the whole drug thing, there's a lot with Canelo that pisses a lot of people off. Yeah, we was talking about this earlier. Again, I'm not a fan of Rigondeaux, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Losing your sight, man, that's a fucked up thing. So hopefully Rigondeaux's okay. Yeah, so a pressure cooker blew up in his face, yeah. And he's not in a good way. So yeah, fingers crossed he pulls through, man. That's a horrible fate, like to have like little to no vision. I couldn't imagine it. Like, we see every day, man. That's something you've got to be grateful for. Just the ability to see, to walk, to talk, to hear. To taste, to touch. That shit is fucking precious. So yeah, I mean, I hope Rigondeaux recovers and he's okay. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Well, apart from fucking degenerate scumbags who are evil people. But like, listen, Rigondeaux's not got a great style, but he doesn't deserve that. So fingers crossed he's okay. Fingers crossed he's okay, man. Yeah, Beterbiev's another one. He'll be interesting for Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, that's the thing, Jesus, man. Again, the whole Canelo debate to me gets a little boring. I'll be honest. It feels like with Canelo, it's like Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder, where if you're critical, like, people just automatically call you a hater, or they'll try and label you a certain way. Oh, you hate this fighter because he's from a certain background. It's not that deep, man. It's just certain things in his career that I've not appreciated with Canelo. Same thing goes for Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Mayweather, etc. Like, there are people like that though who do genuinely take. They look at boxing through a nationalistic point of view or a racial point of view, and they do come to those conclusions. But not everybody is like that, and people get tarred into the same brush just because somebody's critical of a certain fighter. But that's just how I see it, Yeah, hopefully he's okay, man. Hopefully he's okay. Again, the thought of losing my sight, like, terrifies the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, even when I had glasses, when I had to get like fucking reading glasses, bro, I was like, fuck, is this gonna get worse? Am I gonna lose my sight? I was fucking terrified. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that shit is terrifying, losing your sight. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Yeah, speedy recovery to Rigondeaux, exactly. And you say what you want about him, man. He got out of Cuba. He won his gold medal. Well, 2 gold medals. Got out of Cuba, made a bit of money. Yeah, fair enough. His style wasn't the most entertaining, but he made something of himself when he really shouldn't have. So yeah, big up to Rigondeaux, man. Big up to Rigondeaux. Like, listen, life is more important than boxing. So hopefully he recovers. And God bless him and his family. Yeah, I'm always consistent with my criticisms of fighters. Rigondeaux was objectively horrible for the sport. It's not personal. It's just the truth. No hate to the guy, but he brought nothing to the sport. Exactly, bro. I agree. I don't think he did much for the sport of boxing either, personally. He had talent. He definitely had talent. And he could have been a good boxer puncher, Rigondeaux. But yeah, he was far too content with just coasting and getting a decision, even against less than stellar opposition. Like, I had no problem with his performance against Daenerys, for example, because he was in there with a huge puncher which carried great risk. I had no problem with that performance. But when you're coasting and playing it safe against the likes of Dran Francisco, that's when I have a bit of a problem. You've got the ability to blow this guy away, and he never did. That's what I didn't like about Rigondeaux. For me, at least. Yeah, a pressure cooker exploded in his face. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully he gets better. I just don't understand how that happens. Like, was it not serviced properly or whatever? It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Rigondeaux was one of those guys who was a spoiler. No doubt. No doubt about it. But still, I wouldn't wish anything bad on the guy in life, you know? Nobody doubts he's talented, Rigondeaux. It's how he approached certain fights. Like, again, when he was fighting the likes of Dran Francisco, a guy he was levels better than, and basically threw like 6 or 7 punches around to win the fight. He could have blew that guy away in a few rounds, but he decided to coast and play it safe. Like, that's not going to sell tickets. That's not really good for the sport, especially somebody from Rigondeaux's perspective when he's not a big name anyway. That was never gonna like push his career or get him to that next level. Yeah, the Agbeko fight was bad. See, I never found the Daenerys fight boring. But like, yeah, that's another example. Agbeko was awful, awful fight. Exactly, yeah. When Rigondeaux was put on big undercards, he, yeah, he ran and spoiled. Good skills, but so disappointing. Exactly. I go back to that Francisco fight. I'm sure that was on the undercard. It might have been on the undercard to Canelo and Cotto, I think. Yeah, exactly. Rigondeaux had the potential to be a great boxer puncher, like when he fought in Japan and knocked his opponent out after getting dropped himself. Later on, I just think he stopped caring, yeah. I guess, though, if you're from Cuba and you come through that regime where nobody shows you any love or anything like that, you come through that hard regime, you fucking basically, emigrate to the USA on the back of a speedboat. Do you really give a fuck what people think? Probably not. Probably not. Like, Rigondeaux is probably good right now. He should be good in terms of money. He made a bit of money. He should be all right. Does he really give a fuck? Probably not. And if I came through that way, I'd probably be the same as well. So I get it from his perspective, but like as a fan, he just wasn't for me. I'll be honest. He wasn't for me. Great fight, Nordic. Yeah, very good fight. I've got Ramirez in like an 8-4 type of fight. I think it's going to be competitive. If Ramirez is struggling at the weight, then Pedraza has a great chance. And as we know, Ramirez is big at that weight. So it's a good fight. It's a good fight, Nordic. He had a fight a couple of years ago, but I'm not sure whether he's still fighting. Yeah, Jack Catterall in the second half was definitely spoiling. I felt he was boxing pretty well in the first half, but second half he was holding too much. I still felt Catterall won that fight, but yeah, second half he was definitely holding too much. And I maintain what I said on the night. Like in that first half of that fight, he was catching Josh with that straight left time and time again. And every single time he threw a combination, Josh looked rattled, but he wasn't throwing combinations enough. Like honestly, if Jack really stepped through the gears, maybe he could have knocked out Josh Taylor because Josh looked weak. Josh looked weak in that fight. He looked brittle. He looked frail. There was something was off with Josh Taylor. Maybe it's the weight, maybe it's Ben Davison, maybe it's both combined factors. But he did not look like the same fighter that I've seen since the Channel 5 days against Dave Ryan. He did not look like the same fighter. And we were saying this before the fight, Nordic, about his career prior to Josh Taylor, before that fight even happened. We were saying to people, like the critique was, well, Jack Catterall, he cruises through fights at domestic level. He never really steps up the gears, which is true, which was true. But we were saying that there were moments in those fights where he showed real quality. And I believe Jack Catterall does have real quality. I think he's got real ability. He's a good counterpuncher. He's got a good understanding of distance, decent defense. He hits relatively hard, good timing. He's got a lot of skill, Jack Catterall, but it always seems like he holds something back. You know, and that was my rationale going into this Josh Taylor fight. My thing was, I think he's going to show a lot more in this fight. But I think he's a talented fighter, Jack Catterall. I really do. Yeah, similar to the Zapata fight, I could see that. Yeah, and I wonder, man, hopefully that decision, no matter what you thought of it, whether you felt his holding tactics were bad or whatever you thought of that fight, hopefully that decision makes him open up a bit more. Because when he puts his shots together, he looks good. Like he's got good punch technique. He turns his shots over. He's accurate. He's really good at throwing with you. Like the guy's got a lot of ability, man. He's got good composure. But I don't know. It's like he's got that inner self-doubt that stops him going to that next level. But he's got potential, Jack Catterall. He's got potential. I'll be honest though, with Josh Taylor, like let's be honest, it's not like Josh Taylor's not a dirty fighter. He does lead with that forearm a lot, and his shoulder. He rabbit punches. Like Josh Taylor's not exactly a clean fighter. Let's be real. In my opinion, I don't think he's a clean fighter. And I was saying that before the Jack Catterall fight, in regards to like his light welterweight reign. Yeah, he's a fucking great fighter, but he relies a lot on size and imposing his authority, and sometimes he does foul. Like he did that against Postol, he did that against Prograis. He was holding a lot against Ramirez in those last 4 rounds. Like Josh is guilty of that as well. But for whatever reason, in the Catterall fight, he wasn't strong enough to combat that. And that makes me think the weight's an issue because Josh Taylor's a strong dude. But against Catterall, that strength wasn't there. It wasn't there. Like, I think Josh Taylor from a couple of fights back would have contested with Jack Catterall's holding and his mauling. I think he would have contested with that. I think the weight's a problem. And that's another thing I was saying before the fight. When I was on Mark's stream before the fight, I felt Josh looked terrible at the weigh-in. Like, people were telling me that he looked the same as the Ramirez fight. I felt he looked worse. He's very good at avoiding clinches, and the key now, Nordic, even when he's in a clinch now, he's got a great habit of actually getting a hand free, and somehow he generates power in the clinch. Look at the knockdown against Kome. Like, he generates power now from the clinch when he's got a hand free. Loma now is more. He's in a better position now to deal with the dark arts of boxing. He knows how to handle himself now, Lomachenko, which is good. It's good to see. Is anybody a clean fighter? I mean, I think Bivol is a clean fighter. Who's texting me this time of night? Is it one of my BBWs? Do you reckon? Fuck's sake. I'm debating what to have for dinner tonight. I've got some burgers in the fridge. I might do some burgers, you know. Big up to Jiho Park, by the way. Salute to Jiho Park. He says Chocolatito is a better combination puncher than Canelo. Canelo relies more so on timing and counters. I agree. Who do you think's going to win, Jamel Charlo or Brian Castano? I felt, first and foremost, I felt Brian Castano won that first fight 8-4. I felt it was pretty clear. It was a clear 8-4 fight. Competitive, but clear to Castano. And don't take this as a prediction for the second fight. But right now, I've got a weird feeling Jamel Charlo knocks him out. I've got a weird feeling he hurts him and finishes him. I don't know why. It's not based on anything. It's just a gut feeling. But don't take it as a prediction. I might change my mind nearer the time. I don't know. I don't know is the honest answer. I don't know. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. Interesting you make that statement, Nordic. That's why I don't think that's why Beterbiev doesn't get the big fights. Because like you say, I agree. Most Eastern European fighters are pretty clean in regards to their style. But Beterbiev, man, that guy's got the remedy for like a spoiler or a fouler. Like, he fouls himself a lot, man. He rabbit punches, he fucking elbows, he shoulders, he fucking forearms. Like, he's got the remedy for certain styles. That's why I never felt that's why I don't think he got the Andre Ward fight. That's why I don't think he's getting the Canelo fight while he's still fresh. Like, he's got the remedy to compete with that. He's I don't know, like, he doesn't really fit the Eastern European style, Beterbiev, in my opinion, in regards to how he goes about his business. Exactly. Look at the Vodzik fight. Vodzik was boxing a pretty clean fight. You know, jab, boxing behind the jab, trying to be the boxer puncher, trying to time Beterbiev coming in. But look what Beterbiev did. He collapsed the pocket. He was elbowing. He was rabbit punching. He was using his forearms, and he broke down Vodzik. Like, Beterbiev, I'll be honest. I like Beterbiev, but objectively, he can be a very dirty fighter. He can be a very dirty fighter. Yeah, Benavidez is very similar. Look at the fight with Glowacki, man. Like, I think what was it? Glowacki hit him on the break, and fucking Benavidez come back with a fucking 360 elbow. Madness, man. Madness. That's why I think Benavidez versus Okolie is interesting, because Benavidez is not scared to get dirty. I know Okolie stunk for joint out last fight, but like, I still want to see that fight. Benavidez and Okolie. Both guys are dirty as fuck, or can be. I think so. I might be wrong, but I think so. Because Beterbiev dropped Usyk with a body shot in the amateurs. I'm pretty certain he's the only guy. Like those fucking guys from Chechnya and Dagestan are fucking strong, man. They're strong dudes. Something about that part of the world, man. Like the MMA fighters, the boxers from that part of the world, always fucking super strong, man. I agree and disagree. What I have a problem with Shadow Combat is when one guy can be dirty and the other guy can't. If it's a fair playing field, fair enough, I'll accept it. But certain guys get more leniency than others. That's my problem. If it's like an even playing field, fair enough. Like that's why I never really had a problem with the Jack Catterall Josh Taylor fight because I felt both guys were being fucking dirty. So like I felt it was like an even playing field, yeah, kind of thing. So it's one of those things, man. It's my perspective is this, Nordic, in regards to those two comparisons. With Akole, I personally felt he was initiating all of the fouling in that fight. He was initiating all of the clinches. He was the guy kind of ruining the integrity of that fight. Whereas for Josh Taylor Jack Catterall fight, especially in the first half, I felt Josh was doing a lot in that fight, man, where he was bending the rules. Like again, leading with forearms, shoulders, etc. Rabbit punching early on. Yeah, Jack was holding, but the holding to me became a problem after round six onwards in that fight. I don't think Jack was holding all that much in the first half. I felt the clinches were mutual in the first half. After that, though, Jack was clinching. I'm not going to lie, but in that fight, I just felt both guys were fouling. Whereas the Akole fight, I felt Akole was like the main culprit kind of thing. That's how I felt personally. I need again. I've not watched it back. Maybe I'm wrong, but and there's that as well. When you have a reputation, that's another thing, Nordic. When you have a reputation of doing that sort of thing, I think it sticks with you as well. That's another good point. Because Jack, listen, Jack, he's got a dull style, but he wasn't. I mean, prior to that Josh Taylor fight, I wouldn't call him a spoiler in terms of like fouling. Like he never really held on to guys like that. So that was really a first for Jack Catterall. Maybe that has a part to play here. That's a good point because Jack never really had that reputation going in, whereas Lawrence always had it. That's a good point. That's a good point. Haven't seen Lomachenko Salido in a while, but maybe that could be given as an example of one guy being dirty while the other isn't. Exactly, bro. Kovalev Ward 1, I think, is another one. And the second fight, to be honest. But weirdly, though, I think the Salido thing was good for Lomachenko in his career development. I don't think it was bad for Lomachenko, that fight, despite losing. Yes, he has probably lacked experience dealing with a clinch over 12 rounds. I am worried about that, Beterbiev getting stripped. I am worried about that. I am worried about that. We shall see. Yeah, Lawrence Cole basically said that that was the worst job he's ever done in boxing. Like he admits he done a terrible job in that fight. He made a lot of mistakes. He admits that. Big up to Dell. If somebody offered you free tickets to watch Okolie, would you take it? Depends on who he's fighting. If it's like Benavidez, yeah, I'd watch it. Yeah, I'd watch it. But apart from that, probably not. Yeah, that was bad, Nordic man. Lomachenko Salido was bad. Like to me, to me that fight is like obscene in regards to fouling and it being one sided. But me personally, like the Josh Taylor Jack Catterall fight, I felt it was both guys were culpable. You can maybe say one guy was more guilty than the other, but both guys were culpable in that fight, in my opinion. In my opinion. Yeah, Lomachenko doesn't mind getting rough now. Yeah, exactly. I think he realizes like this isn't the amateurs anymore. You're not going to get any favors. Sometimes you've got to get in the trenches and get a little bit dirty. His inside game is the clinch, Sander B. That's his inside game, is to neutralize you, hold your hands and hold your arms and shit. That's his inside game, Because he's a good boxer puncher, Lawrence Okolie. No, I'll take that back. When he's got distance and he can fire that jab and time you with the right hand, he does carry genuine power, Lawrence Okolie. I think his power's real. I'll say that. I think he hits fucking hard, Lawrence Okolie, but his distance control is bad. And I was really disappointed in Okolie in that fight because under Shane McGuigan, the fights prior to this, it looked like Okolie was making improvements. He was managing his distance a bit better. He was keeping guys on the end of his jab and setting up his right hand. But in that Cieslek fight, he just went back to type, and I felt he looked horrible. So I was disappointed. I was expecting more from Okolie. I was expecting more. Maybe that's foolish. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. Who's a better low blower, Orlando Salido or Andrew Galotta? I would say Salido because he got away with it. Salido, no doubt. Yeah, an uppercut would be great for Okolie's game, no doubt. Yeah, exactly. If Okolie doesn't develop punch variety and keeps telegraphing the right hand, he's finished if he goes to heavyweight. I agree. Okolie wasn't living the life outside the ring, according to Shane. More of a fat camp for him. May explain the regression, yeah. And you can tell that Okolie is one of those guys who puts on weight real quickly. Like before he started boxing quite late. I think he was like 17, 18 when he started boxing. And when he started boxing, he was just a fat kid who worked at McDonald's. That's what he was. So like he's probably still got those sort of genes in his body where if he goes off the rails, he'll put on a lot of weight. So that's probably it. Yeah, but I could see that. Yeah, Okolie needs to work on moving while jabbing. Needs to get better at maintaining a gap to suit that right cross. I agree. Yeah, he can't jab off a back foot at all, Lawrence Okolie. And the thing is, though, I was saying with that Cieslak fight, I could not understand why Cieslak wasn't throwing an uppercut. Like, fucking Okole is a guy who leads with clinches sometimes. Like, an uppercut against that sort of guy is money when a guy's leading with clinches or falling into his shots. Like, the uppercut is paramount in those sort of fights. But Cieslak just wasn't throwing it. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Great fight if that happens. Crazy D3. Great fight. Joyce versus Parker. A good possibility of it happening. Great fight. I would favor Joyce, but it's a good fight, man. It's a good fight. That's the sort of shit we want in boxing. I saw bits and bobs of it. Lee Davis, Dempsey McKean. He's an athlete. There's no doubt about it. He's in good shape. He can move a bit. He can box a bit, but like I see him, and I don't see like an A-tier prospect. I think he'll be in some fun fights, but nothing more than that. That's just my opinion. I think he'll be a good fringe contender kind of thing. But he's okay. He's okay. He's not terrible. He's not great. In the middle kind of thing. That's how I see him anyway. He's okay, though. Yeah, Povetkin's known for his leaping left. Leaping lead left hook. Whereas Okole's known for his lead clinch. Exactly, bro. Exactly. I was super disappointed in that fight, by the way, because it was a Sunday evening. You know, Sunday evenings are sacred. You know, and I wasted my Sunday evening watching Lawrence Okole. I was fuming. Absolutely pissed off, man. I was so pissed off I wasted my Sunday watching Lawrence Okole. But, you know, it is what it is. There's a couple of fights on the undercard that were pretty good. Jordan Gill versus Karim Guerfi was a great fight. That was a great fight. And even Anthony Fowler versus Maciek was a good fight as well. So there's a couple of good fights on the undercard. Yeah, Tony Yoka's fighting Martin Bakole next in May. That's a good fight. I'll take that fight. I think that's acceptable. Tony Yoka versus Martin Bakole. That's a good fight. I'll take that. Shazar, I'm not that impressed with Parker, to be honest. The Joyce fight would be a great fight to make to see where Joyce really is. I agree. And I'll be honest, with Joseph Parker, in that fight with Derek Chisora, the rematch, to me that highlighted Parker's career. There's signs of real promise. He's got great athleticism, good speed, reasonable power, decent boxing skills, decent boxing ability. But he never really puts it all together. Like, he should have got rid of Chisora in that second fight. Like, Chisora was there to get knocked out, but Parker never did it. There were signs, there were great moments when he was putting Chisora on his ass, hurting him with big shots, but he never just put the foot on the gas to get this guy out of there. And that's the problem with Joseph Parker. I think he's got ability, he's got talent, he's got speed, he's got decent power. He's got a great chin, Joseph Parker. Parker's got a lot of attributes that many heavyweights would kill to have. He's got a good chin, he's got good speed, he's got good power, with good athleticism, decent boxing skills, but he lacks that killer instinct. He lacks that fighter's mentality. Like, listen, I'm not a big fan of Dillian White, but if you put Dillian White's mindset into Joseph Parker, I think you've got a hell of a heavyweight right there. Something about his mindset's not right, Joseph Parker. Because he does have talent. Yeah, that Gill fight was great. Proper European title fight, yeah. Proper fight that was. Great fight. Credit to both guys. I rate his power, Lee. I do rate his power. I mean, when you're knocking down Mariusz Wach, your power is somewhat legitimate. I know Wach was 42 years old, but Wach has a granite chin. So his power's real, but I agree in regards to his skill set. He's very predictable. He's very cumbersome. Follows guys in straight lines. Doesn't really jab his way in enough, in my opinion. And he's very right-hand happy, whether it's for straight right overhand right or right uppercut. He's very right-hand happy. Very he's too one-handed for my liking. And the lack of a jab puts me off a little bit. And also his low hands kind of puts me off as well. But he's fun to watch. His power's real. His power's definitely real. Couldn't have said it better myself. His lack of killer instinct will keep him from being on the top. I agree. And that's the thing with Joseph Parker. To me, it's never really been about talent or lack of talent. I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying he's the best in regards to talent, but he does have it. He does have it. He does have talent. He does have skills. He has decent speed, decent power, good chin. He's got a lot of good attributes that he never really puts it all together. Like Joseph Parker's got one of the best chins in the top 10 at heavyweight. He's got one of the best chins, in my opinion. He can take a punch, Joseph Parker. I say throw Makhmudov in with Fury, see what he's made of. Until then, where does he go? Oh, that's a good question. If I was managing Makhmudov, I'd throw him in there with Ali Eren Demirezen, who recently beat Gerald Washington. I'll chuck him in with... I'd throw him in with that guy. Maybe. I don't really know with Makhmudov. He's not a big name. He doesn't sell tickets. So it's going to be hard to get him big fights. If you're his promoter, you've just got to get him ranked and try to get him as a mandatory, because other than that, nobody's going to fight this dude. I think all this is interesting. I'm surprised at this one, actually, from Nordic. I think Parker probably beats Joyce in a very close fight. Listen, bro, I'd love to see it. It's a great fight. I think Parker's got a chance, don't get me wrong. I think Parker's got a good chance, but I'd favour Joyce. But again, Joyce, though, like, he had that good win against Dubois, but since then, man, what's he done? He's beat a faded Takam. He's had injuries, inactiveness, you know. Again, it's one of those things. Jerry Forrest, yeah, he'd be respectable for Arslanbek Makhmudov. I mean, Jerry Forrest, he beat Michael Hunter and he got a draw in his last fight. He beat Zhilei Zhang as well, by the way, and he got a draw in that fight. So Jerry Forrest, he should be coming off wins over Zhilei Zhang and Michael Hunter. So yeah, that's a good fight for him. That's a good fight. I'll take that. Yeah, but you know, with Tyson Fury, he'd never fight a guy like Makhmudov. You know, I couldn't see it. Maybe the thing is, Nordic, you throw him in there with another high risk, low reward type of guy. Maybe a Frank Sanchez, somebody along those lines. Guys who aren't big names but have a risky style to some degree. Maybe that's the route they have to go. Dave Allen's fight on the 19th. Never knew he was fighting, Lee. Never knew he was fighting. Yeah. Sugar Hill would be a good trainer for Makhmudov, in my opinion. He would teach him how to throw the jab. That's my problem with Makhmudov. He doesn't jab his way in enough. His lead hand is pretty poor. Like, his power in that right hand is real. It's absolutely real, but the lead hand's pretty poor. Nobody's going to fight Joe unless there's no way out. You mean Joe Joyce? Yeah, I think I agree. Unless you pay these guys silly money or it's like mandatory, yeah, Joe's going to struggle to get fights because, again, Joe's not a big ticket seller. Nobody knows who Joe is in the UK. Nordic, you savage bastard. But I'd watch it. I'd watch it. I'd watch it with you, bro. I'd watch it. Broner just tweeted that he's missing boxing. I wonder if he's thinking about making a comeback. He's looking for a payday, as Canelo would say. He's looking for a payday, I think. This is my theory on Makhmudov. He's a big fucking dude, but look at that guy's head. His head is too small for his body. I'm going to say right now he's got a bad chin. He's got that David Price type head. His head looks too small for his body. And those guys can't take a punch, especially at heavyweight. Oh, that'd be a shit fight, Nordic, man. That'd be a shit fight. No way I'd watch that shit. I'd watch it. I'm not going to lie. I'd watch it, but I'd watch anything. How do you see Fury's chin holding up in the white fight? He's taken a lot of punishment from the Wilder bouts, plus he looks really fat at the press conference. His conditioning might not be good right now. Yeah, I think the Dillian White fight's a banana skin, I'll be honest. Like, listen, prime for prime, skill for skill, both guys at their best. I pick Fury every day of the week. But, you know, Tyson sometimes does cut corners. He doesn't always live the life, as we know. And if he's taken Dillian White lightly, then it could be a recipe for disaster. I'll put it to you like this. I see a lot of guys saying Dillian has no chance. But, like, would Dillian White knocking out Tyson Fury be as big an upset as Hashim Rakhman knocking out Lennox Lewis? Or Oliver McCall knocking out Lennox Lewis? Or Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson? Or Michael Bent knocking out Tommy Morrison? I'd say no. I don't think he's up there with those upsets. So, listen, Tyson Fury should win that fight, but I wouldn't rule out... I wouldn't take Dillian White lightly. I wouldn't take Dillian White lightly. The Russian David Price. I'm more worried about White's chin. I am as well, actually. Like, since the Joshua fight, he's been getting hurt a lot against Helenius, against Parker, against Rivas. Got knocked out by Povetkin. It looks like his chin is getting worse, Dillian White, I have to admit. That's what I'm leaning to as well, Nordic. A Tyson Fury late stoppage. That's what I'm leaning to as well. Is White beating Fury a bigger upset than if McKinson were to beat Ortiz? No. McKinson beating Ortiz, in my mind, would be a much bigger upset. Like, I give McKinson zero chance. Unless Virgil Ortiz, like, his arms fall off, I give McKinson no chance. Whereas Dillian does have a puncher's chance in that fight. He does have a puncher's chance. McKinson doesn't have that, so nah. If McKinson wins, that is the upset of the year. You might as well call it off now. You might as well call it off now. Again, I was kind of saying that Jack Catterall would have success against Josh Taylor. But I can't see the same, and I wasn't doing that to be a contrarian. That's just how I felt going into that fight. But I can't say the same for Michael McKinson against Virgil Ortiz. I think he's going to get smashed. First couple of rounds, he might have a bit of success with his awkward style, but Virgil's going to figure that out quickly and fuck him up. He's gonna fuck him up. If Virgil arms fall off, he still wins. Probably, bro. I get you. I get you, Lee. Like Dillian is limited. He's got a left hook. He's a tough kid. He has power, and let's be honest, that's really it. He's got a decent catch counter left hook. He can throw a decent jab at times, but like he's basic as fuck. I totally agree. I totally agree. But heavyweight boxing is crazy, man. Shit happens. Hashim Rahman was incredibly basic, and he knocked out Lennox. Like shit happens. Michael Bent wasn't a great fighter. He knocked out Tommy Morrison. Oliver McCall, this tough dude, he wasn't great, and he knocked out Lennox. Like shit happens at heavyweight, you know. And if you take your eye off a ball, anything can happen. So at heavyweight, there's always a bit more anticipation, you know. But yeah, if I agree though, Lee, if Tyson Fury's at his best, he wins the fight. But again, my point is this: if he looks at Dillian White and sees him as a bum, then that could be a recipe for disaster. And you could say the same about. I mean, listen, people were saying the same thing about Wilder, and I know Tyson won those fights, but you know everyone was saying Wilder's a bum. He has no skill. He still put Tyson Fury down multiple times. So anything can happen. One perfect shot on the perfect place, shit can happen. So listen, Dillian is a danger. It's a banana skin. Tyson should win, but don't like underestimate him. Is what I'd say. Exactly, yeah. Like Hashim Rahman wasn't a great fighter. He wasn't great. He was average. The same guy who was getting knocked about by Oleg Maskayev. He wasn't a great fighter. At all. Like, I think Dillian White would beat Hashim Rahman, to be honest. I'd pick Dillian White to beat Rahman. I know, I've not mentioned it. I mean, from Dillian, listen, he doesn't have to. Listen, I'd say it like this. If I was managing Dillian White, I would say that he should go to the press conference because it's not just about promoting the fight, it's about promoting yourself. And this is the biggest stage Dillian White has ever been on. So I would still take the opportunity not only to promote the fight, but to promote yourself as well. But he doesn't have an obligation to do it. So like people going like acting like they're outraged that Dillian White never showed up. He doesn't have an obligation to do it. So what can he say? If that's the way he wants to go, fair enough. But I think it's the wrong move. But if he wants to do that, fair enough. It is what it is. Again, if I was managing Dillian White, I'd tell him to go. Promote yourself. It's not just about promoting the fight, it's about promoting your brand. So it's one of those things. I'd have gone if I was Dillian White. But I'm not Dillian White. And if he decides what that's what he decided, that's what he decided. In White's defense, it took Fury, 11 rounds to knock out Wilder, who was ready to be gone in round 3. The ball is really in Fury's court. Hopefully he shows up in shape and ready to go. I agree, Shazar. I think this fight is as easy or as hard as Tyson Fury makes it. I'll put it to you like that. If Tyson Fury loses this fight, and I know it sounds harsh on Dillian White, if Tyson Fury loses this fight, it's on Tyson Fury. Because skill for skill, talent for talent, the size, I burped. The size, Tyson Fury should win this fight. I can truly see Dillian White stopping Fury early to mid rounds. You'll get some good odds on that, Pimp My Sniper. Yeah, Lennox was always a great fighter, but those KO defeats shown that he was always vulnerable. He usually had a great chin, but they can all punch at heavyweight. Yeah, that's one thing about Lennox I never really agreed with. There was this narrative that Lennox had a glass chin. I disagree. He could be knocked out. I'm not saying he had like a fucking Oliver McCall chin, but he could take a punch. He just got caught. Shit happens. Like if you watch the Vitali fight, he took some bombs in that fight, never went down. The Ray Mercer fight took some bombs, never went down. Even the Michael Bent fight, he took some hard shots, never went down. So Lennox's chin was never as bad as people made out. He just got knocked out a couple of times. Shit happens. Shit happens. I agree. Rackman is more basic than White. Better chin, more power, but so stiff and so slow. I agree. You might be right, Q. You might be right. If he loses, yeah. If he loses, yeah. Exactly, yeah. I find it ironic that Tyson Fury fans are calling out Dillian for not showing up at a press conference when, yeah, like you say, Tyson's signed for certain fights and not shown up, like Ustinov, for example, like the Vladimir Klitschko rematch. I agree with that. I agree with that. Oh, yeah, that's nonsense, Nordic. That's nonsense. Yeah, a prime Povetkin beats a prime Rackman. I know Rackman was past his prime when Povetkin fought him, no doubt. But prime Povetkin would still beat Rackman. I mean, again, look at what Maskayev did to Rackman. Yeah, I was saying this earlier, BG London. I can't stand John Fury. The guy's like you said, the guy's a bully. The guy's a bully. Can't stand him. Yeah, Lennox took hard shots from Tua and Klitschko. He was very tough. Yeah, I agree. John Fury has a glass chin. I think Usyk would be a hard fight for Lennox Lewis. I think Lennox would dust Joshua. To be honest, I think he'd beat Joshua. I think he'd beat Fury. To be honest, especially this Fury. Yeah, he'd beat this Fury, Lennox Lewis. Absolutely. I think Usyk might be a tricky one though. Like, just because Lennox never fought anybody like Usyk. He's like a fucking anomaly at heavyweight. Alexander Usyk, his style, his movement, his speed, gas tank, etc. It's a bit of a like you can't compare anybody to Usyk at heavyweight in history in terms of style. I can't think of anybody in terms of pure style. So I find the Usyk fight hard, but I think Tyson Fury beats Tyson. Sorry, I think Lennox Lewis beats Tyson Fury, especially this Tyson Fury, and I think he beats Joshua. I think he beats Wilder. I think he'd beat the likes of Povetkin, etc. But Usyk, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Usyk's just weird in like fantasy fights because there was nobody like him in these eras. Again, maybe Usyk gets fucking cleaned out. Who knows? But like, it's hard to pick Usyk for or against in these fantasy fights. I want to see a bit more from Usyk at heavyweight, but the way he dealt with Joshua was very impressive to me. So if it goes 12, I can't see Lennox winning on points. But Lennox had the power to hurt Usyk, no doubt. But unlike Joshua, I think Lennox had the ability to turn that fight into a bit of a mauling match, a bit of a brawl, a bit of a... I think he could get a bit dirty maybe to try and get that knockout, maybe hit and hold, hit an uppercut, etc. Now that's a better fight. The Fury from the Vladimir fight against Lennox. That's a better fight. Like the current Fury, the guy who just fought Wilder, especially in that third fight, I think he gets knocked out by Lennox. But the Fury who fought Vlad is much more interesting to me. stylistically. But even then, like, I don't think Lennox would just step aside like that and just be so passive. Yeah, I think he'd get outboxed in the first few rounds, but he's gonna turn shit up. He's gonna change his style. He's gonna go for the knockout. Sorry. Listen, I like Natasha looking at her, but not impressed with the fight. BG London. Usyk versus Hay at cruiserweight. Hay's very dangerous early on in that fight, very dangerous. But if that fight goes past 4 or 5 rounds, I think Usyk accumulation stoppage late on. I really do. I think he will drain David Hay. I think Usyk beats Vlad. Vitali stylistically is a lot more tricky. Because, yeah, Vitali's a big dude like Vlad, but his style was so much more unorthodox. One thing about Vitali that nobody gave him credit for, his footwork was impeccable. Look at Vitali's footwork. His footwork was incredible. Yeah, his punch technique was weird, the way he threw at weird angles, his chin in the air, leaning back, etc. That was weird, but like his footwork was incredible, and he had very good feet, Vitaly Klitschko. Very good feet. So I think the awkwardness of Vitaly would give Usyk a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. I think Usyk beats Vlad, but Vitaly, I'm not so sure. But it's weird. I think Vlad beats Vitaly. But Vitaly Usyk is weird. I think the styles, man. But anyway, guys, it's 9:30 at night in the UK. I've not had my dinner. I've got some burgers waiting in the fridge. So I need to wrap this one up. I'm fucking starving. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to wrap this one up right now. I'll cover some of his boxing this weekend. Obviously, Martinez versus Chocolatito, I'll cover. I'll do a post-fight review, maybe for Pedraza Ramirez as well. We shall see. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.